podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Blueberry.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
The Big G. Tokyo Town. StompDown.
Well, I suppose it could be worse.
What?
We could be talking about that silly movie with Doctor Who in it, you know? Look, at least that wasn't a Big G.
All right. This movie has a lot of firsts in it. Sorry, we're arguing. We haven't even introduced ourselves yet.
Welcome.
I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham. Welcome to these Big G Tokyo Town StompDown for May 3rd, 2019, presented by Subject Cinema and Kaiju Corner, Kim's brand new kaiju-oriented show. You can get that every week or so this summer, and several episodes already up. But you got to be a Patreon patron at $5 or higher to catch that. So be sure to sign up, because we need it, and you'd love it. It's a great show.
I hope
anyway,
yes.
We're into the third of the 31 days of May with Godzilla. Oh, the horror.
Oh, come on.
Oh, the humanity.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Oh, the inanity.
Oh, the overacting.
Yes, very much so.
Huh.
Oh, well, at least I'm not going, oh, it's bursting into flames. I know it's a different same type of idea, but, you know.
Tactless, yet rude. Today's show, we are looking at 1962's King Kong vs. Godzilla. Oh, come on. Would you stop?
I'm sorry. I just have no patience for this, because I think Kong looks idiotic in this movie. Yeah.
You're not wrong.
No.
Well, no.
Especially when you compare it with what they did with Peter Jackson's version. Even the Broadway show version looks better than this. It's terrible.
Okay.
Anyway.
The plot of said, I won't go into detail, like really minute detail. The plot of this film, though, involves a pharmaceutical company who are looking for a monster that they can use to promote their TV shows, because people love monsters, I guess.
We also want to go back, just before I forget, that this is the first of 4 in a row directed by Ishiro Honda again.
Yes. And it's also the first Godzilla movie in color. This pharmaceutical company has found out about these berries that are only available on this one island, and these berries produce a non-habit-forming narcotic effect, so they could be a big boon for medicine and stuff like that.
Or just to get high on.
The people on this island are like, no, we're not giving these up. We need it for the god. And everybody's like, what god? And the people on the island are like, well, we have a god on this island, and he's like really big and scary, and we make this berry juice for him so he won't squish us. And of course, the civilized, Dr. Evil quotes, people are going, oh, ha ha, those primitives. And they send this expedition off to this island to find out what's going on. They find out that these people who live on Faroe Island, not Skull Island, because reasons, their god is actually very real, and their god is King Kong, who has apparently been eating his Wheaties because he is a hella lot bigger than he was in the original film from the 30s. Because if the Kong from the original film went up against Godzilla, that would sound a little something like this. I'm King Kong.
It'd be like Bambi versus Godzilla.
The rest of the film would be Godzilla going, ew, what did I step on? And like using buildings to scrape off his foot. So they wind up capturing Kong. Now, while all this is going on, a submarine is attacked in the Arctic Circle, and also a helicopter sees what attacks the ship when it comes out of an iceberg. It's an emerging Godzilla because of like warming, like they didn't say global warming, but they made it for like
warming waters in the Arctic. Yeah,
made icebergs like break away and were floating closer and stuff like that. So
the
Godzilla
term global warming didn't yet exist in 1962.
Well, it did, but nobody knew about it.
Well, no, I don't think they'd come up with that term yet till the 70s.
No,
so.
I know, but I'm saying the actual phenomenon probably did exist.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, before Al Gore invented the term, like Al Gore invented the internet.
Okay.
So anyway, Godzilla busts out of this ice and he's all like yawn, stretch, scratch, and decides to, go back to what he usually does, which is,
It's not Roseanne singing the national anthem, for Pete's sake.
No, I mean, he's just kind of, scratching his back and being like, oh, what I miss, And he checks his BlackBerry and sees that he's late for his usual schedule of wrecking stuff.
Really?
Sorry.
His BlackBerry?
I couldn't think of anything else.
Could you drag yourself out in 1998 and into the current day?
Sorry.
Wow, okay.
Sorry. Considering they hadn't invented BlackBerries when this movie came out. So anyway.
That we knew of yet.
So anyway. So eventually, these two creatures, which according to some of the off, to the side people that they have in these films, are kind of like their version of a Greek chorus. They're enemies from years past and stuff like that because they'd instantly see each other and try to kill each other. And I'm like, what?
This is a recurring theme in the Godzilla movies.
I know.
You'll find out.
I'm like, so Godzilla doesn't like anybody? That's, it's like Godzilla doesn't have any friends at all? It's like, okay. Because it seems like every time he sees something, it's instantly, I gotta kill it. And so we have these big titanic fights between Godzilla and King Kong. And we have the end of the film, which everybody talks about and is one of those big movie myths that we have to bust every couple of years. Because some people swear up and down that their brother's sister's cousin's mailman saw this version of the film where in the American version, King Kong wins, and in the Japanese version, Godzilla wins, because they didn't want to upset the Japanese or American audiences. This is crap. to be completely honest and forthcoming with y'all, this is bull. The end of the film has Godzilla and Kong, after causing ridiculous amounts of collateral damage, they tumble off of a cliff into the water, into the ocean, which causes this big tsunami and wrecks a whole bunch of, houses and stuff, but that's not important.
There are differences, but they're not a different ending. They're slightly different, and the ends are the same.
The ends are the same. The end of the film is, we see, like I said, they fall into the water. We do get a shot in the water where they're kind of, we can see them kind of fighting a little bit in the water, but not very much. And then Kong pops up out of the water, and he starts to swim back to his island. And the people that are watching this from the helicopter, what are you laughing about?
Oh, sure. He's going to go swim, 13,000 miles?
Well.
Or wherever it would be?
Well, maybe he lay on his back and did the butterfly for a little while. I don't know.
You don't do the butterfly on your back. You do that in the front. It's like
the backstroke.
Backstroke.
I mean. Well, I'd say maybe he did the dog paddle, but that would be stupid because he's a gorilla. And they don't have a gorilla paddle.
True.
The people
if he did dog paddling, he'd take him years.
Yeah. The people that are watching all of this from a helicopter are, one of the men reporting on it talks into the walkie-talkie microphone thing and says that, they see Kong swimming back and that there's no sign of Godzilla. Now, they're not saying that Godzilla has been killed, because everybody knows that Godzilla can, if not function underwater, at least can hold his breath underwater for a while. Mm-hmm. So, we do hear Kong's roar, and we also hear Godzilla's roar, but we don't see Godzilla. But the last shot is Kong swimming his way back to Faroe Island.
Well, Godzilla's roar, according to Wikipedia, is only heard in the Japanese version.
Right.
The American version has just Kong.
Yes, that is true. That is true. So there is a little bit of truth to that myth, but the whole idea of two separate endings, that's crap. That's crap. This was a draw, because nobody wanted to piss off the other movie-going audience, so they decided to have the Kaiju Smackdown equivalent of kissing your sister. It was a draw. And nobody likes draws, let's be honest. Nobody likes draws. We all know it. There are things about this film that I will be the first to admit are completely ridiculous. And one of the things about this film that is completely ridiculous is the Kong costume. I mean, they tried.
No, they didn't. Not even close.
What? That's not very
Not
nice.
even close.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to knock on the people that made the film that much, but I'm assuming that they had some footage of an actual gorilla and how an actual gorilla walks. This wasn't it.
No.
At least, the Peter Jackson version, Kong Skull Island, which was friggin' amazing, and which they will be doing
yeah, we'll talk about that later.
A version of it by Legendary.
Okay.
They had the whole thing where Kong walked like a gorilla walks. I mean, gorillas, usually when gorillas do that whole thing where they're standing upright and the whole chest beating thing and all that stuff, that's a form of aggression.
Yeah.
That's a form of being like, I'm going to kick your ass if you don't get out of my way. The rest of the time when gorillas move around, they usually do that thing where they're kind of bent forward and they're walking, on their hands. I mean, they also run that way, which can be terrifying when it's coming at you.
Yeah.
That's a frightening thought, is something that size running at you. That's, you don't want to see that. But this costume, wow. From what I heard, the way they had the costume done was that the arms of the costume, they were actually, the person's arm ended right about here, and the rest of it was, I don't know if they were like holding something to keep the arm steady when they were doing like the chest pounding and that kind of thing, but it looked embarrassing.
Yeah, it was bad.
Really looked embarrassing.
There have been worse costumes.
Oh, there have been worse costumes, but that...
Not much.
Wow. And the fact that we had... I mean, this sounds dumb, but if you go back and look at it and really look at this film, and it is one of my guilty pleasures, I do like it, simply because there are so many just what the hell moments in this.
There are.
Including the part where Kong's getting his butt handed to him by Godzilla. Yay! And... there's a convenient lightning storm. Thank you, Thor. And Kong gets hit by lightning, which somehow revitalizes him?
Yeah.
What? And he not only does the lightning revitalize him, which makes no damn sense.
Clearly the writers at Toho really didn't look at the King Kong story when they wrote this. No.
He jumps up like Popeye who just had a can of spinach, and then he grabs Godzilla, and he can push the lightning from his body into Godzilla and shocks the heck out of Godzilla. And I'm just like, what?
Last time I looked, King Kong was not a Pikachu.
No. That is not an image I needed. That is not an image I needed at all.
Yeah,
King Kong-sized Pikachu. Wow, that's horrifying. But it is kind of, and the other thing about this film that I'm like, wow, if you watch some of the fighting that happens between Kong and Godzilla, not so much between Kong and the giant octopus. There is a scene earlier at the beginning of the film where Kong fights a giant octopus, which was an actual octopus. That was
considered really well done too.
Yes.
It actually is one of the better special effects in the movie.
They did use a puppet at certain points, I think, but they did also use real octopus.
Yeah.
Blech.
Well, Japanese are experts at that, so.
Yeah. And they made it move by blowing air on it, so that it would, and they also ate one of them.
That's also how they got the spider and tarantula to move, was, blowing air on its butt.
Yeah. If you watch some of the fight between Kong and Godzilla, there are actual honest-to-blog wrestling holds. And I'm just going, what? It's just this kind of...
And remember, she likes this movie.
I do. It's... I don't
goofy as hell.
Oh, gosh.
It's one of the goofiest movies in the series.
It's... Nah.
Until we get to the really crap stuff in the late 60s and early 70s.
Not all of it was crap.
Mia, Jaguar, Smog Monster,
Godzilla
dancing.
Okay. You're jumping back and forth between movies.
I know.
You're making me dizzy.
Okay, sorry. And we'll get to those later. Anyway.
But, like I said, when you watch some of and you see an actual hip toss and you're just going, hey.
Well, that's good. It's all the people inside the suits can do, you know.
Well, yeah, I know. It's just, there's actually one scene that's and they are, for the most part, the guys in the suits. One of the shots was actually the suit actor flipping around an empty suit. They didn't actually have the actor in the other suit because that just would have been stupid and probably would have wound up hurting somebody extremely badly. So they had the guy get out of the suit and they told the other suit actor, just throw him. And I'm sorry, you kind of can tell there's nobody in the suit because it just kind of falls and goes thud.
Yeah.
You know. There is one scene that is, I think they used puppets in at least one scene. It's kind of a longer shot, and they're just kind of like fighting, like, almost like you can see two little kids going, you know, like fighting like little toys, and it just cracks me up to no end. I do like this movie. I mean, I don't want it to sound like I don't like it, because I do. But it's definitely, I guess the best way to put it, it's kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I guess that would be the best way.
That's a good way to put it.
If they had actually, I don't want to say tried, because they definitely did try, but if the Kong suit had been a little bit better, we'll go with better. I just feel
and the story.
The story wasn't that bad.
The story wasn't that bad, but it needed help.
Well, I think it was more the suit and the fact that they just, I'm sorry, I know I'm being a nudge about this, but I'm like, you could have one video or one film of a gorilla walking, just one, but no, okay. You know what you're doing. It's your movie.
Yeah. They didn't get that right when they did, the other Kong movie, the one I mentioned earlier with Dr.
King Kong
Who.
Escapes,
yeah. King Kong Escapes.
Right. No, they didn't.
Tomorrow, going back to good quality, and the first movie that I really was interested in after the first two, because as much as I don't like the parent movie on this one, I mean, I do, but it irritates me in some ways. This one I really like, and it's entertaining. In America, it was called Godzilla versus the Thing. Here is Mothra versus Godzilla, and the first of the official crossover movies between Toho monsters. And it's going to be fun. And on that note, we've got lots more to go all the way through the month as we sail toward May 31st and the release of Legendary's Godzilla King of the Monsters. As we count down, we don't stop till we get to the top.
We did that already in this movie. They went to the top of the diet with the girl. Well, Kong did anyway.
For the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown, I'm TC Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Oh boy, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown from Subject Cinema, Kaiju Corner at eCinemaOne.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.